In 1973, Mego added the Amazing Spider-Man to their 8-inch World's Greatest Superheroes, and he quickly became the best-selling figure of the line. He was such a success that he was the only Marvel character to be in every superhero toy line Mego ever produced. Way back in episode 10, we took a look at the 12-inch web-spinning Spider-Man from 1978. But today, we're taking a look at the most popular figure from the line that started it all, the 8-inch World's Greatest Superheroes Amazing Spider-Man, here on KREED'S Collection. Hey, welcome back to another episode of KREED'S Collection. Today we're checking out the 8-inch Amazing Spider-Man from the 1973 World's Greatest Superheroes toy line by Mego. As I said in the intro, Spidey is the best-selling figure from the 8-inch line, and this of course is my original from back when I was very young, as this toy predates my existence. Spider-Man is one of, if not my favorite character of all time, so I'm always excited to talk about him. I know for a fact I own more figures of Spider-Man than any other toy in my collection. It makes it pretty easy to do my own Spider-Verse crossovers. I'm Spider-Man, I need you to come with me. What? Who the heck are you? Listen, I'm from the future. How dare you point at me? What? You were pointing first. It's rude to point. You're being very rude. You're not listening to me. Stop pointing at me. But you're pointing at me right now. Stop pointing at me. Look at your hand. Stop pointing at me. Look at your hand. Stop pointing at me. I was in the very first episode ever of KREED'S Collection. Is that true? No, yeah, he was in the first one. Huh. What do you know? So now, do you trust me? No, not really. As we come around to the front here, you can see that the figure has a very classic Spidey look, and the suit has held up remarkably well. There is a tiny bit of damage, but we'll come back to it in a bit. The smaller eyes on the mask definitely tell you this is from the 1970s, and the only real flaw is the fact that the webs aren't colored black like on the suit itself. The front of the suit has held up remarkably well, especially if you compare it to my old 12-inch web-spinning Spider-Man, who has frayed quite a bit. Oddly, it took Mego 4 attempts to get the front of Spider-Man's costume correct. The first 3 were all disliked heavily by Marvel, and they finally settled in on the 4th design, which is the one I have. I like his hands, they're a good sculpt, but why aren't they in the web shooting position? At least one of them. And they didn't even learn their lesson, because 5 years later, the 12-inch web-spinning Spider-Man also has no web shooting hand. As we come down here to his feet, you can see a little bit of fraying in the front of the boots, but luckily no spider toes are sticking through. On the center of Spidey's back is his classic spider symbol, something that was missing from the Remco version if you remember. It looks pretty good. Of course, it does have that big slit in the middle, and that's so you can unsnap it right here and open up the costume if you want to. Other than the toes, the only other damage is right here, a little bit of fraying on the leg and on the belt. Okay, now we're going to check out Spidey's articulation, something we really didn't do with the 12-inch. So down here on his ankle, he can point it straight down if you want, and also lift it back up. Knee can bend at a 90, and the costume gets in the way a little, but yeah, it's a 90. Right here, ball joint on the leg, which allows it to kind of flex out, around. You can put it in quite a few poses because of that. The waist allows him to swivel and flex forward and back. Now, also his shoulders can go up, but the costume kind of gets in the way again. Elbows have a 90-degree bend, and the hands can swivel back. They can go forward, and then they have a full 360-degree swivel, which is pretty nice. The head can also turn left and right, and that is it. That covers all the points of articulation for Mego Spidey. On Spider-Man's neck, you can see a copyright date of 1972, and then the body has a copyright date of 1974. And now for our He-Man size comparison. While it's not as bad as last time with the 12-inch Mego Spider-Man, the 8-inch still towers over He-Man. Good thing Spidey is one of the good guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the 8-inch Amazing Spider-Man from the 1973 World's Greatest Superheroes toy line by Mego. I probably should have reviewed this figure before I did the 12-inch that came 5 years later, but for some reason I just wanted to go big back then. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.